Well, there's been a mixed response to the federal government's surprise decision yesterday to hold an inquiry into the family court system. The review comes after years of lobbying from One Nation leader Pauline Hanson, who joins us now from Canberra. Pauline, good morning to you.
Good morning, Georgie.
You have been pushing for a shake-up of the family court for years. What do you want to see come out of this inquiry?
I want the people of Australia to have a say. I have that many come to my office, pull me up in the streets. They're devastated, destroyed by the whole system, the family law system that they say is unfair, unworkable. It covers many areas about the cost of it, about child protection, child support, payments that they're making or not getting. The workings of the court, Georgie, it is so far and so extensive.
And of those issues, what do you believe are most urgent? What need to be addressed urgently?
What I'm hearing is parents that are not having the opportunity to actually see their children. The court system is dragged out. It takes months to get into it. Then the cost involved with it, whereas a lot of parents can't afford to even go through the court system. They're not getting to see their children, and then they're paying exorbitant amounts in child support. What I like to see is right from day one, 50-50 custody. And you sit down, you mediate about the time. Unless the person has a criminal offence, they're on drugs or alcohol abuse, or they've actually committed domestic violence prior to separation. Let's make that a starting point. In legislation, there is 50-50 custody, but it's at the discretion of the judges. And I don't think that's good enough. Look, it's about what the people want. I want to hear from the people and these organisations themselves.
You in fact believe the family court system is unfair to many men. Just elaborate on how men are being let down particularly.
Well, they are. There's organisations out there that are purely set up, to try and help men. We don't fund them. We don't give them assistance, and I think that is wrong. We call for equality. I always have called for equality for everyone. I think that a lot of the women out there abuse the system by instigating false DVOs against their former partners or their husbands who use that to further their needs. I think there are some lawyers out there that also push that point of view. I think that's unfair to these fathers, and I know that the court system doesn't have the ability to prove whether it's false claims. There is perjury there, but no one's charged with perjury. The whole thing needs to be, people must be responsible for their actions. I am totally against domestic violence, don't get me wrong. But when someone wants to text and say, I want to see my child, or asking about the child, and that's a domestic violence order, I don't think that's good enough, and it's not right.
All right. The flip side to that, of course, though, is that campaigners against family violence are outraged by this decision for an inquiry. They say we don't need another inquiry. The Australian Law Reform Commission handed down 60 recommendations just 6 months ago, and the government is yet to respond to those recommendations. Isn't that where you should be applying the pressure?
Georgie, we've had these inquiries. Yes, we have had the ALRC, the sample review, and we've had the KPMG.
So why another one?
KPMG, because they only tackled certain areas. ALRC was only about the court law, about the law itself, the family law itself. KPMG was about costing, and the sample report was about the court structure. This is holistic, where we go into it a lot further with family law. Grandparents that don't get to see their children as well, they have a right to see their parents. Child protection. So it goes beyond this. This is a holistic view about it. Now, this is why I don't want it to run for a short period of time. It's not just about me. It's about sitting down with my colleagues, the other parliamentarians, and coming up and speaking to the chair, Kevin Andrews, about how we want to deal with this and take it forward.
And just on that, you, as I understand it, want to co-chair this inquiry. How do you respond to critics who say you're not an expert in domestic violence and therefore not suited for that role?
No one knows of my role and what I've actually experienced in my life.
Are you suited to it?
Sorry?
Are you suited to be co-chair?
I most definitely am suited to it. And people, my experiences in life is going to be very beneficial in this inquiry. I've been through this as a mother, as a wife, and as a grandmother. I've experienced it for years and listening to the people of Australia what needs to be done. But this is about listening to the evidence that's put before us to make a well-informed decision. It's not just about my views. It's about what the whole panel, all the committee members, will come to their final decision. That's why I don't want it rushed. I don't want it. I want to take it to every state and territory in this country. I want to see it in rural and regional areas. Let the people speak. Let them have their voice. And these people want to shut it down. You know, that's disgusting. It really is. You know, this is about the people who are crying. This is about deaths that are happening, suicides, even women getting murdered. So what's your answer to it, I say to those people? What's your answer?
And what about the suggestion from some that this has been given the green light by the Prime Minister because he needs to keep you on side in the Senate? How do you respond to that?
A load of rubbish. Absolute rubbish. I put my case forward, and it was... I originally spoke to Malcolm Turnbull about this, then I spoke to George Brandis and about having a review into the family law court system. I was the one who got the Chief Justice, Diana Bryant, down to Canberra and had a meeting with her and the CEO Registrar of the courts. And then George Brandis followed it through and had an investigation into it. So the whole fact is, I've been on top of this and how I've put my case forward. I will fight for many things in this Parliament, and I will prove to the ministers, or I will prove to the Prime Minister, how worthy this is. He understands, he knows how important this is to the people of Australia, and he's backing me on it. And I thank him from the bottom of my heart for that. And I thank all the other members of Parliament who are going to be on this panel with me. But I want to work with them. Forget about your politics. This is about pulling together for the people of this nation.
Yeah, and it is an issue that affects so many families right across the country. We'll be hearing from the Prime Minister just after 7. Pauline Hanson, we appreciate your time this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, George.